You know, in life, I have come to learn some things. If somebody else were to tell me that they occurred, I would really doubt that and dispute. But some things have to happen to you personally to believe. On part 2, we ended where parliamentarians were lobbying the chairman, Honorable Gor Sungu, to be included in the list of people who will go to London to meet Kenyans who are afraid of coming to Kenya, of giving evidence to Kenya. Of course, Parliament, being a public office, has to control its budget. So the clerk of the Parliament had written to the Commission saying that they needed so many members of Parliament and so many support staff. Well, the problem here was all members of Parliament who are members of that committee wanted to go. And you know, how did I come to know of it? You see, being a star witness, being a star witness, there are so many things that I provided the Parliamentary Select Committee on. For example, I could explain something and they visit the place and then come back and then I'll explain and whatever. In that way, there was so much consultations on me that I used to find myself between the offices of Honorable Gor Sungu and the office that was allocated to detectives who were seconded to Parliament for the purpose of that investigation. So whenever I used to go there, there's a time I went there and then found they were literally begging him, Mheshimiwa, include me in the list of those who are going to London. And I came to form an opinion, which I still hold, that they are wanting to go to London had very little to do with the investigation. Maybe it had to do with the tourism and the allowances that follows it. But I do remember that Gor Sungu was strict and said that what he'll do is that when it comes to members of Parliament, he will ask for the Hansard to show the MP who attended most would be given priority. And they would follow that way and that way until the number arrived. So this is something that, of course, I'm an intelligence officer, emeritus, and when I'm somewhere, there are those things I notice, but I'm not supposed to act as if I've noticed. I noticed that. And then they went to London. When they went to London, I noticed that the investigations went on well until such a time that Nicholas Biwot's name started appearing. Then immediately, the clerk to the National Assembly wrote to Gor Sungu and the Commission in London and told them that the National Assembly had less finances and so they should summarize up their investigations and come back to Kenya. That one I want you to know, that when evidence started mentioning Biwot, they were summoned to finish up and go. Remember, this is 1 year going to 2 years after Kibaki took over. But you see, when you take over, the first few years you are taking over with the staff and personnel that were hired by the former regime. So the people in Parliament were still loyal to the old regime. Then they came back to Kenya, and then, as I said, they finished off the investigation, and they started that long process of whatever. Then I went to Parliament and asked if I could claim for reimbursement of my traveling accommodation and everything. I was told by a lady called Sarah She was, I think, the staff, parliamentary staff attached to Gor Sungu. She told me that I would not be given anything. She just told me that. And I remember, I remember that anybody who mentioned the name of Biwot was not paid any allowances. I know somebody who came to Nairobi through zigzag. Actually, he stayed in Nairobi, but through. Let me give an example. Suppose it was me. You see, my home area is Webuye. So you claim that you left Webuye, went to Nakuru. Nakuru, you took a vehicle to Nyahururu. Nyahururu to Nyeri. Nyeri to Nairobi. And you know, taking a vehicle from Webuye to Nairobi is 6 to 7 hours. But then you take 3 or 4 days going through round there. And then you come to Nairobi, you go to a 3-star hotel, stay there for a week or something. And then there is the out-of-pocket expenditure. They were given that way. As I speak now, anybody doubting me can check with the parliamentary record. I was not paid even a single cent. Nobody paid me anything. And the only money that I received, and even today, whenever I meet Gor Sungu, I don't go home empty-handed. Everything I received was from Gor Sungu's pocket. Up to this time, all participation, all the information, everything I did for the Parliamentary Select Committee, I was paid nothing. I was paid nothing. I had even borrowed some money from some people where, you know, let's say you expect 10,000 and you borrow 2,000 from somebody. And then I had to look for other money to replace that. And the people started saying, you have been paid much. You know, I can't report you because you are all over. Una trend. That is what they say, una trend. Finally, I wanted also to say this. As I said in part 1, that I did not have a telephone, a mobile phone, and I used to use, if you look at the statements and all that, I used to use Vincent Lee Budho's number. And I would write that, where you write, they ask you, do you have a telephone number? You say, care of, telephone this belonging to Vincent Lee Budho. Then Lee started giving me information that he was receiving some messages, both SMS. Those days we didn't have WhatsApp, or WhatsApp was beyond people like me. He started receiving SMS, which he would delete immediately. He would also get phone calls at night where he was being told, Kwatenge, sasa wewe ndio unajifanya umejua mengi. He told me that there is only one SMS he sent me. He showed me when I insisted, because I said maybe you are cooking up things. There is one SMS which said, Kwatenge has bitten more than he can chew. Then there is another time I was walking around Mormon's Church along Nyakenywa Road. When I was walking along Mormon's Church along Nyakenywa Road, at that time my glasses were broken, so I was walking without. I saw a certain vehicle which aimed at me. It aimed to hit me. And when it aimed to hit me, I jumped into, wanahitaji mtaro kwa kizungu, into a ditch. And I heard them laughing and saying, Hakoka. By then it had rained. And the water was up to my knee. So they said, kamelewa na kata drown hiyo maji ya mtaro. From there, I looked at it. I went to, KNHCR. I went to KNHCR and said my life was in danger because of giving evidence. And then KNHCR, the best they could do was just give me a letter, which I took to police headquarters. And that was the end. That is the much that the police and KNHCR did to protect me. But I can authoritatively say that up to this moment of talking, police officers in Riruta, both there is at Riruta Chief's place there is an AP camp there called CIPU, and those police officers at Riruta police station. Throughout that time, whenever I happen to be around, they make sure that like now we have Madam Sarah, the OCS. I can mention the names of all OCSs. I cannot say this one was better than the other. Of course, I can say Barnabas Ngeno was more closer than the, but all others are better good, better than good, above better, or very good. They usually want to know my condition, even if I'm not within reach. They always ring me and want to know, mzee, mbona umetutoroka siku hizi? But the government officially wanting to assist, they have not done that. I can also remember, as I pen off, that even after saying that Selina was alive and she was found, she was some statement takers, detectives went and found her and talked to her, and she accepted to write a statement. Then she was asked to come and give evidence to the select committee in Parliament before camera. She said she was not safe walking around in Nairobi alone, so she was allowed to have two minders to accompany her. She took two minders whom she came with to Nairobi using a Kamba bus service. She came, gave evidence. She was told, okay, you can now go back home. She went home and she was not paid a single cent. Selina, the lady who last saw Ouko, she was not paid. Then she called a press conference. I remember, it must be Daily Nation, where she featured, where she was saying that she has not been paid anything. And Gor Sungu called her, answered through the press that she should see him and whatever. My belief, as even of today, she went back, met Gorsungu, she was asked how much she would want to be paid, reimbursed. She said, and if I'm not wrong, Gorsungu used his own money. I can authoritatively say here and now that those people who gave evidence against Biwott were ignored and mistreated. Thank you. This is the third and final recording concerning my evidence before the Gor Sungu Parliamentary Select Committee on Robert John Ouko's death.